Now at 9, about the only thing that can beat the Bears right now is the flu. We'll have the latest on the sick list at Hallis Hall. A winter storm out east is making for tough travel on one of the busiest airport days of the year. And we're about to take a ride on the weather roller coaster ourselves. A warm start tomorrow before temperatures plunge into the 20s.
Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News Saturday.
And thank you for joining us on this Saturday night. I'm Dane Placco. Let's get right to that weather whiplash headed our way. Mark, it's going to be a wild one tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, from the 40s today to the 50s tomorrow, into the 20s for most of the rest of the week. Some big changes. And in the meantime, we have this fog lingering around this evening. Now, fortunately for us, we've checked the airports. This is how the delay map looks. You can see we're in pretty good shape throughout the Midwest. That snowstorm that created some problems with some snow across New England continues to push away, so we should see some improvement there. But again, locally here, we're talking about some visibility down to 3/4 of a mile in Rockford, DeKalb 1.25 miles, and we've had visibility earlier this morning down to about 500 feet. Would expect to see some pretty tight visibilities again overnight tonight. So we are cloudy. We do have a chance of some rain drifting in after midnight and some more chances of wet weather. In fact, some pretty good chances tomorrow before things start to turn colder for Monday. I'll tell you all about that. Your complete forecast story coming up in a moment.
And in fact, that winter storm out east is having a little bit of an impact on Chicago's two big airports. A total of 66 flights out of O'Hare canceled so far today, O'Hare and Midway, most of them with connections to the Northeast. Delays are running about 15 minutes at O'Hare, we're told, half an hour at Midway. United says today is traditionally the busiest travel day of the Christmas holiday season. Passengers we talked to at O'Hare this evening, both coming and going, say it's not been bad at all.
I came from Connecticut and traveled out of New York, LaGuardia. Travel was good other than the snow out there. Everything was on time, so they got me here safe.
It seems very busy, but actually it went real smooth. Putting my tags on my bag and checking it in, it didn't take too long.
It was pretty busy in Fort Lauderdale, but here it's been fine. It's just really been a mechanical issue that we ran into problems, but other than that, it's running pretty smoothly.
But a much different story on the East Coast, where more than 1,000 flights have been canceled so far. Caroline Elliott has the latest on getting home from the holidays.
The weather outside for parts of the Northeast is frightful, and for U.S. holiday travelers, so are the flight delays on the way home.
So it took a while to take off. It was about maybe an hour and 20 minutes, something like that, to finally get all the ice off the plane and get out and get back to Atlanta. According to tracking site FlightAware, thousands of U.S. flights were canceled or delayed Saturday across the Northeast and Great Lakes after a winter storm left snow and ice in its path.
Early is the best thing. We were up at 5:30 to get to Dulles Airport in time, but we got before all the traffic and everything was there.
New York City received roughly 4 inches of snow Friday and Saturday. Residents there welcomed the flurries post-Christmas.
Yeah, after so many years without the snow, I think it's nice to have it. At least to the point where it's manageable.
I came from the Philippines and it's like 90 degrees every day, but I'm loving it here.
By Saturday morning, much of the storm had weakened. Parts of Long Island received over 6 inches of snow. Local officials advised people to stay off the roads, warning of slippery roads. New York and New Jersey authorities declared state of emergencies because of the dangerous conditions. And the holiday travel is not over yet. AAA also expects increased traffic through the week of New Year's, too. In Atlanta, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
Of course, the story everyone's talking about here in Chicago is the Bears, who have the NFC North title and the #1 seed in their sights. But heading into tomorrow night's game against the 49ers, they're also doing battle with the flu bug that's going around Hallis Hall. And as a result, starting right tackle Darnell Wright was added to the injury report today. He's officially listed as questionable. Wright did not travel with the team to San Francisco, but we're told he could still fly out in time to play. Either way, Wright is the 6th Bears player this week to land on the injury report because of illness. Nick McLeod has been ruled out, and Nashawn Wright, who leads the NFL in takeaways, is questionable because of both illness and a hamstring issue. Now for the good news, though, two other players who had illnesses, DeMarco Jackson and Devin Duvernay, have no injury designation and are good to go for the game. The Bears are also getting Luther Burden back after he missed last week with an ankle injury. Now the Bears can clinch the NFC North with a Packers loss to Baltimore tonight or by beating San Francisco tomorrow night. We'll have more on the Bears coming up a bit later in sports. And speaking of the flu, many here in Illinois and across the country dealing with it as well. A lot of the new illnesses are linked to the subclade K variant. This tends to be more infectious and has worse symptoms. According to the CDC's latest report, there have been at least 4.6 million flu illnesses so far this flu season. 49,000 people have gone to the hospital and 1,900 people have died. The CDC says Illinois' cases remain minimal, but cases are on the rise. Dr. Nicholas Moore from Rush Medical Center told us what signs to look out for.
If you have symptoms that persist for more than 5 days, such as cough or worsening cough, or maybe a fever that defervesced or went away and has come back, certainly if patients start to see or experience shortness of breath, chest pain, more persistent or unusual headaches, or changes in mental status, those can all be signs of more severe influenza infection.
Moore says some ways to avoid getting sick are to wash your hands and stay home if you're feeling sick. He also says it's never too late to get that flu shot. Hundreds of police officers from across the Chicago area and the Midwest filling the gymnasium at Tinley Park High School today to celebrate the life of Park Forest police officer Timothy M. Jones. Officer Jones died earlier this month, nearly 10 years after he was shot in the head while arresting an armed robbery suspect. Jones suffered catastrophic injuries from that bullet and was confined to a wheelchair, but continued to fight to stay alive. He even achieved the rank of detective in 2021, 5 years after he was shot.
On December 3rd, 2025, Officer Jones passed away, leaving behind a legacy defined not by the moment he was injured, but by the life he's lived and the values he stood for. To be a police officer is to accept a calling that few fully understand.
Because of Tim's death, that we know of today, 75 people live because he died.
Jones was a Tinley Park High School alum where that service was held today and played football at the University of Indianapolis. He was just 34 years old when he died. Chicago police are searching for the person who shot and killed a man on the north side early this morning. Police responded to the scene in the 5100 block of North Sheridan Road in the Uptown neighborhood at around 4 a.m. Officers there found the 23-year-old victim with a gunshot wound to his head. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Witnesses told police they saw a car fleeing the area where that shooting happened. So far, nobody in custody. To the south side, where a driver plowed their car right through a storefront. Take a look at that. Out the back of the building, wound up on the Metro tracks. This happened at around 1 this morning on East 79th Street near Exchange Avenue. The building appeared to be empty at the time. Police say the driver was speeding and was trying to turn when the car jumped the curve. The driver was hurt, but the passenger was okay. Citations are pending from police. The Cook County Treasurer is providing more than $2 billion in emergency funds to local governments. This comes after technology failures led to months of delayed property tax payments. In a statement, Treasurer Maria Pappas called the action unprecedented and blamed Texas-based Tyler Technologies for those issues. The company is contracted to upgrade Cook County's computer system, but it ran into issues preventing the distribution of more than $8 billion in property tax funds to local government entities, including many school districts. It was only last month that homeowners received the second installment of their property tax bills, which were originally due on August 1st. And that delay forced Chicago Public Schools to take out nearly $2 billion in loans to pay for operating expenses and for the teachers' pension fund. Now to headlines overseas. Russia launching a deadly attack in Ukraine a day before Ukraine's president is expected to meet with President Trump. The barrage of ballistic missiles and drones killing at least one person and wounding more than 24 others in the capital of Kyiv today. The attack began in the early morning, continued for hours. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is scheduled to meet with Trump in Florida tomorrow to discuss ending the nearly 4-year war with Russia. Zelensky told reporters that he and Trump plan to discuss several matters, including security guarantees and territorial issues. We're learning more about the deadly Christmas military strikes the U.S. carried out in Nigeria. Nigerian officials confirm precision-guided missiles and U.S. Reaper drones were used in that attack. Stephanie Bennett has more on that.
The strikes come after weeks of warning from President Donald Trump, who designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern over Christian genocide claims, something the Nigerian government has rejected. The Nigerian government says the U.S. airstrikes hit 2 ISIS-linked camps in the bony forest of the Sokoto state. They were launched from the Gulf of Guinea in the Atlantic Ocean, and say 16 GPS-guided precision munitions were deployed using MQ-9 Reaper unmanned aerial platforms. The strikes targeted areas used as staging grounds by foreign ISIS fighters who had snuck into Nigeria. Casualty numbers are unclear, but the airstrikes were approved by the Nigerian president and resulted from extensive intelligence gathering and strategic coordination between the two governments.
We are hoping that this is not an operation that will end now, but it will be part of the ongoing operations that will put an end to this terrorism in Nigeria.
During the operation, debris fell near the villages of Jabu and Afa. Residents described the panic and confusion as multiple homes were damaged. Debris also landed in a field, creating a crater, but no casualties were reported. President Trump told Politico the strike was originally set for Wednesday, but he delayed it by 1 day, Christmas Day, for symbolic reasons. In London, Stephanie Bennett, Fox News.
Archaeologists have made a discovery shedding new light on Christmas. Up next, we'll tell you about the first Christmas celebration here in the Americas, and you might be surprised just how long ago it happened.
The mailman delivers the packages.
There's been a big discovery about the very first Christmas celebration in America. It dates back about 500 years ago. Craig Patrick has more on what they found.
Florida archaeologists made a stunning discovery in their own front yard.
It was really astonishing that It's here in Tallahassee. It was kind of in plain sight, but just underground.
In 1987, archaeologist Calvin Jones drove by a construction site and discovered the bulldozers had turned up something incredible.
So he got out of his vehicle, looked around, and identified some very early Spanish olive jar fragments.
In addition to the jar fragments, he would also find pieces of armor, crossbow bolts, and Spanish coins that date to the early 16th century. They halted the bulldozers and carefully excavated this hilltop just a few steps from state archaeology headquarters.
Such a significant site was right here under our feet this whole time. What they found were thousands of artifacts related to a Spanish occupation, which was eventually identified as the De Soto Winter Encampment.
This is where Hernando de Soto spent the winter of 1539, and where his expedition would celebrate America's first Christmas.
It would have been something totally different than you would expect today.
The expedition landed that spring on the south end of Tampa Bay. De Soto National Memorial marks the spot. Reenactors recreate the arrival of 600 adventurers from Spain.
Soldiers, settlers, priests, and pigs and horses around Tampa Bay, and is going to look for gold in this new Spanish land called La Florida.
They trek north, and many of us retrace their journey without knowing it.
And marches up I-75, which is as crowded then as it is now.
That's right. Northbound I-75 closely follows the same path De Soto took. And with the typical gridlock in Tampa and Ocala, we can move at about the same pace they did. And they brought a herd of pigs.
The pigs were going to be a part of the colonizing effort, and also it was a way for them to keep food on the hoof, so to speak. So a herd of pigs would follow behind the army.
And you know how wild pigs damage people's yards today? Well, imagine what happened back then.
Indians get upset because the pigs eat the crops of the Native Americans, and they get mad, and so as they get mad at De Soto's men. De Soto's men respond. You know, they're much better armed.
They attacked and were attacked and realized the need to restock their weapons and supplies when they reached what we now call Tallahassee.
So they were planning to stay here for the winter when it's cold and food is not as abundant, and wait for their ships, which would resupply them somewhere down near the St. Mark's area south of Tallahassee.
In 1539, this hilltop was the capital of the Appalachian people, just as we have our capital about a mile down the road today. And when they saw some 600 armed Spaniards heading their way, they evacuated.
Just an incredible force was coming their way, so the Appalachian abandoned town. The Spanish come in and find about 250 residences, we know from the De Soto Chronicles, and De Soto basically sets up camp in their houses.
And as the Appalachian camped nearby, they frequently clashed with the Spaniards who took their homes and winter food supply.
Pretty tense situation. The Appalachian are a rather powerful kingdom, as it were, and these are interlopers in there, interlopers that are better armed, but interlopers that are not nearly as populous as the people there.
The Florida natives were always really, really hostile to the Spaniards.
And the expedition was hostile in return.
Yes, of course, yeah. De Soto never hesitated to, be very cruel and harsh with the Indians when he encountered them.
Which is why America's first Christmas was a far cry from the season of peace as we know it.
It was not a festive Christmas as we would celebrate it today. There were no Christmas trees. There was probably not a lot of decoration. They were really kind of fighting for their lives every day.
But they were also devout Catholics who placed a high value on Christmas Mass.
When the Spanish soldiers moved in hopes of colonizing, they always carried religious men with them. So there would have been a Mass, but the Mass would have been obviously in Latin back then.
Likely a midnight Mass and a morning Mass, followed by Christmas dinner.
And then there would have been a celebration with food, but again, nothing like we would see today. It would have been whatever food they could carry with them and whatever they could gather from the surroundings.
The food is a mixture of pork, because they're killing the pigs, and the Appalachian diet, which is mostly based on corn.
And De Soto left something behind for all of us, the wild pigs that we have today.
And with genetic studies, we know that a lot of the feral pigs in the United States actually descend from those that De Soto had carried and then escaped.
They left Tallahassee in the spring and never found the riches they sought. But they did leave a mark on Florida far beyond Christmas.
Interesting story. That was Craig Patrick reporting from Christmas to New Year's now. Crews have installed the New Year's Eve ball in Times Square. It is red, white, and blue to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States. That ball will drop a second time on July 3rd, and that'll be the first time in history the ball will drop outside of New Year's Eve. Of course, many of you will be partying into the new year, including right here on Fox Chicago. Be sure to join us, Fox Chicago's Jake Hamilton and Anita Blanton, live from Tao, Chicago nightclub to ring in the new year. That celebration will include performances by Bun B, Cupid, Cleo Fox, much, much more. Fox Local New Year's Eve Live. The party starting at 10 p.m. on Fox 32 and Fox Local Chicago. If you're going out on New Year's Eve, you better bundle up, huh, Mark?
Yeah, it's going to be cold. In fact, there's even a possibility of seeing a few snow flurries and flakes coming midweek. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Tonight, it is cloudy skies, and we do have a chance of some rainfall. We've got more chances of wet weather coming your way tomorrow. In fact, a pretty good soaking rainfall coming during the afternoon, during midday tomorrow, with some high winds kicking up during the afternoon and evening. We could see some 40, 45, even 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts coming up tomorrow. So it's going to be a warm day. It's going to be a very mild day, but it's going to be an exceptionally wet and windy day. Temps right now, we are in the 40s. We're going to stay in the upper 30s and low 40s overnight tonight. Temperature's not really taking much of a dive overnight tonight. And as I told you, tomorrow is going to be pretty warm for this time period. Notice how the temperatures actually increase during the overnight. Chances of showers, wet weather increase as well, especially as we head towards the morning. And by tomorrow, not only could we have some showers, there can actually be a little rumble of thunder, especially as that colder air starts to push up against our air mass during the afternoon and even during the evening. Some showers and thunderstorms a possibility. Here's Futurecast. We're cloudy, dry for the next couple of hours. Here comes some rainfall overnight tonight into the early morning hours. This is 7:30 in the morning. You can see that wet weather continues to stream in. I think easily a half inch of rainfall is possible across much of the area. Some areas could even pick up to an inch of rainfall, and then as that shifts away, colder air moves in, and we have a chance of a few snow showers and some flurries as we go, especially Monday morning. By Monday afternoon, that should all move away from us, so this is a Monday morning event primarily, but it could dust up the area, make some slick conditions, especially for the early morning commute on Monday. Then the rest of the week is going to be chilly. Look at this, temperatures mostly in the 20s. I'll go 32 for New Year's Eve. We bump back up to around the upper 30s over the weekend to around 40 degrees before we go into more winter-like weather after that. I can show you the 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, see you in a minute. As 2025 comes to a close, it is time to start thinking about your taxes. Coming up, what you can do now to get started on those taxes. And the amount of time kids spend staring at their screens continues to grow. Just ahead, we'll tell you about what some parents are doing to bring the focus back to the real world.
It's closed.
There's a lot of parents, and you might be one of them, who think their kids are on their screens way too much. And they say it's time to go old school. CB Cotton has more on an effort to get kids to ditch the screens.
Research states that constant screen time or even intermittent screen time on a daily basis is causing our neural pathways to change. What happens later when we find that something has gone awry in our child's brain from the use of these technologies?
Pew Research revealed more than 40% of parents say they could be doing a better job managing their kids' screen time.
We all feel a little icky about talking about how much technology we use.
Erin Lochner, author of The Opt-Out Family, has what some might call an extreme take.
I would much rather abstain entirely. Parenting without screen time is a lot easier than parenting with it.
Even some of the highest profile tech executives say they are raising their kids with a low-tech lifestyle.
When I interviewed over 250 sources in and out of Silicon Valley, they had child development experts on their team. And what that showed was they know sort of the key to your child's delight. And so I think most parents feel very powerless to that.
But there's good news.
We have everything that technology cannot give, which is eye contact and warmth and a little shoulder pat on the way to the kitchen.
There's also a renaissance of old school tech, including the comeback of landlines.
I think integrating some of those pieces of our former existence of different eras is always a fun thing to experiment with. There are so many people coming alongside and linking arms to really help our children navigate this world that we've created for them.
The American Academy of Pediatrics no longer has a firm recommendation for an acceptable amount of screen time. Instead, it urges parents to focus on the quality of their children's digital interactions. In New York, CB Cotton, Fox News.
X's and O's for both X's and Y's. Just ahead, we'll take you to a girls' flag football camp, part of a growing emphasis on females in football.
Again, a mild day tomorrow, but we dive down into the 20s for most of the rest of the week. In between time, some high winds and a little pop of some snowfall. Out of your forecast straight ahead.
Now at the bottom of the hour, we're following several top stories. Hundreds of police officers attending a celebration of life for Park Forest police officer Timothy M. Jones. Officer Jones died earlier this month at the age of 34, nearly 10 years after he was shot in the head while arresting an armed robbery suspect. Jones suffered catastrophic injuries and was confined to a wheelchair but continued to fight to stay alive. The winter storm in the Northeast impacting flights on what is traditionally the busiest travel day of the Christmas holiday season. According to tracking site FlightAware, thousands of flights were canceled or delayed today across the Northeast and Great Lakes. So far, though, a total of 66 flights out of O'Hare and Midway canceled, most of them with connections to the Northeast. And we're going to experience a weather seesaw. Temperatures going to climb tomorrow before taking a deep plunge to start the work week. Mark, it sounds like if you have any outdoor activity tomorrow, the best advice is do it early, huh?
You know, either way, I think you're going to get wet. You're going to have to dance around some showers and some high winds tomorrow. So outdoor activities, you might want to put a couple rocks in your pocket to keep you kind of grounded to the earth. Now, those warmer temperatures are actually pushing in overnight tonight. So we're going to continue to see temperatures stabilize and actually push up a little bit during the overnight hours. And we could hit the mid-50s here in Chicago, although very likely we'll have very warm conditions, mid-50s, just down to the south. Winds this evening are all out of the south and out of the southeast, helping to pull in that milder air. So far, wind gusts, not really all that impressive. We're about 8, 10, 12 miles per hour. But there is a wind advisory posted coming up tomorrow that stretches all the way into Sunday night and into Monday morning, when we could have winds gusting at times up to 50 and even 55 miles per hour. So we're going to get whipsawed by some rain, some heavy winds, and we could have some down trees and power lines as well with those 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts. This is the rainfall pushing in, and then as that pushes away, on the backside coming in Monday morning, an isolated snow shower or two for much of us, especially from Interstate 80 northward. Could be some brief slick spots on the roads. We'll talk more about that coming up.
Thank you, Mark. Traditionally, football is a sport dominated by men, but the times, well, they're changing. Women's flag football continues to grow, thanks in part to the NFL and its sponsorship. But there are also some local groups intent on showing that girls belong on the gridiron.
More than 150 girls from high schools across the Chicago area gathered Saturday morning at the Pullman Community Center for the second flag football camp of the season.
Girls flag football is definitely blowing up.
Daniel Moore is one of the coaches for a group called Concrete Rose 773. The name coming from the idea that from tough urban neighborhoods with a lot of concrete, roses still bloom.
We're doing a lot of great things over at ACA and Concrete Rose, trying to add the resources and trying to bring it to girls who may not have the experience in it, whether they have experience in it or not. Just trying to give them the opportunity to even just compete and just do it in general.
The girls are getting on-field coaching from former college football athletes, including drills specific to their position. In 2021, the Chicago Bears partnered with Chicago Public Schools on a pilot program for girls flag football. And in just 4 years, teams and leagues have spread across the state. The sport was officially sanctioned by the IHSA in 2023.
It's really great. There's so many girls here just trying to be here for the love of the game and just get better, honestly. And it's an amazing camp with lots of drills, and it's so fun. I'm having a great time.
It's really community. I know a lot of coaches here from HTA. I know a lot of coaches from other teams around the city, Phillips, Frem, the Whitney Young. So it's really just community-wise, but anybody could come here if they want to.
And it's not just here in Chicago. The NFL is starting girls flag football teams in countries all around the world, knowing that if you've played the game, you're more likely to be a fan of the game.
I think if you're a young lady who enjoys flag football, or you just enjoy competing, or you just enjoy doing something that you have passion in, I think you should do flag football. You should give it a chance.
The group that sponsored today's event, Concrete Rose 773, will be holding another girls flag football camp at the end of this school year. A celebration of Kwanzaa today in Chicago's Bronzeville neighborhood. Dozens of black-owned businesses and vendors gathered at Hatch 41 to offer shopping opportunities as well as a chance to learn more about Kwanzaa and its unifying impact on the black community.
Today we basically have our Kwanzaa celebration, which is our pop-up shop where we have African-American vendors come in and basically promote their businesses, as well as basically a celebration of celebrating the 7 principles of Kwanzaa.
Now, this is the second day of Kwanzaa, which will be celebrated through January 1st. Chicago takes pride in its title as Railroad Capital of America, but there's a part of our railroad history you might not know about. Coming up, a new exhibit about the migrant workers who helped build a rail empire.
If you want total health care,
The Chicago we know was built by hands you may not have learned about. A new exhibit in Pilsen shows how immigrant rail workers shaped the city, and it connects the then to now. Terrence Lee has more on that.
There isn't a central archive across the country where you can easily find records of Mexican-American railroad workers.
But those records do exist, and they live across families, files, and places. This exhibit brings those pieces into the same space, not to speak for them, to let them speak for themselves. The name on the door is Rieles y Raíces, Rails and Roots, a walkthrough more than a century of Mexican and Mexican-American rail labor in Chicago and the Midwest.
It was really a labor of love to be able to finally tell stories that were basically almost forgotten.
That labor started with questions close to home. Ismael Cuevas helped curate the exhibit. He grew up in Chicago in a family shaped by immigration. Years studying Mexican and Latino history taught him to look where textbooks had passed over.
Asking families to literally dig into their shoeboxes and find family photos, documents of their ancestors.
Those keepsakes became the foundation. Photos of workers, letters sent home, pay stubs from rail companies, pieces of daily life held on to for generations.
The city was formed by trains. Railways is what put Chicago on the map.
And maps make that clear. Rail lines from across the country still converge here. Cesario Moreno is the museum's visual arts director. He says time moves forward as you walk through the gallery. And at the center, scale and detail hold you there.
Through the research that Ismael and Dr. Benavides did, they were able to identify boxcar settlements within the Chicago area, within the city proper.
Inside the city, not at the edge. Boxcars were not storage, they were homes.
We're in winter right now. It's, in the zeros, 10 degrees, 20 degrees. Imagine living in an unheated boxcar in the middle of the winter, and these families were still able to thrive.
Families cooked there, slept there, raised children there. All of it feet from moving steel.
There were a lot of accidents. It wasn't a clean environment, but they built churches. They got married, they had funerals, all the really important things that happen in a person's life.
This is the only housing that Mexicans were able to access whether it was this housing discrimination, whether it was just the ability to be close to work. And so it was this kind of discovery that I fell upon by looking at census data.
So this actually reflects the map, and that reflects the census, and that's all new, brand new information, which, you know, that's always great for future historians, and they have something to build on and something to go on.
Some records list railroad intersections instead of street addresses. Researchers match those points to historic maps that places these communities inside Chicago neighborhoods that still stand.
It's not our fault as an individual that we didn't learn this. Systematically, we're not being taught this, right? When we hear rhetoric of, critical race theory and curriculums being too woke, they're targeting our people's histories, right? The people who built these cities, the people who built this country.
This exhibit gives that history weight. A spiker used on the line, a welding mask worn on the job, tools that kept commerce moving and families going. Community formed in constant motion, and the past pulls even with the present.
Similar to what's happening now with Trump administration using Operation Midway Blitz, we had in the 1954 Operation Wetback. And this is 70 years ago that these communities in Chicago are being targeted. And we have railroad workers, we have the records that show them they had just bought homes here in Chicago, whether it was in Fuller Park, whether it was in back of the yards. They had just bought homes, establishing the American dream, and they have to get sent back to Mexico, right? On the same railroads they had built decades earlier.
The exhibit holds those records together. Labor, home, belonging. Threads not interpreted, not summarized, left to speak for themselves.
We are the living, breathing seeds of our ancestors, and we're sprouting.
A lot of these individuals whose families built these tracks and maintained them are now lawyers, they're doctors, they're artists, they're people at universities.
When the rhetoric is that you don't belong and you shouldn't be here, the records say otherwise.
Thank you, Terrence. That exhibit is now on view at the National Museum of Mexican Art in Pilsen. Admission is free, and it runs through April 26th. Well, the Bears have made the playoffs. The Packers are in their rearview mirror, and tomorrow night it is another big challenge. Coming up in sports, Lou, Cassie, and Anthony with more on what now and what's next for the Bears as they head to San Francisco. All right, Mark, I'm a little worried about all those Christmas inflatables I see in my neighborhood with the wind you're describing tomorrow. Might be a good idea to deflate them
I was going to say, if you don't, they're going to be in the next district because we have some very high winds coming in tomorrow. Winds that could gust up to 55 miles per hour tomorrow during the afternoon, especially during the evening. Tonight, it's the rain that's coming in. Our winds are out of the south. This is 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we have some good soaking rains coming in across Chicago. And then look what happens here as we head into Monday. As that colder air marches in, a shot of some snowfall moving our way that could mar our early morning commute on Monday morning. So we go from the 40s today to the 50s tomorrow to the 20s on Monday. It's easy to get whiplash with a forecast like this. Overnight tonight, our temperature is actually increasing a couple of degrees. We're down or actually increasing into the low and mid 40s. Tomorrow, look at this, 57 at Midway, 59 degrees in Kankakee, 53 in Woodstock, 50s all over the place. But it's not going to be a pleasant 50s because we'll have those high winds that could pick up to about 50 to 55 miles per hour. And we're going to have a lot of rainfall around tomorrow as well. Right now, you can see our camera socked in with the fog, the low clouds, 41 degrees now, east-southeast winds at 9, and our wind chills at 35 degrees this hour. Temperatures, well, they're in the lower 40s. Mid-40s to our south and 48 degrees at LaSalle, Peru, but increasing a couple of degrees as we go through the next couple of hours as we top out again around 55 tomorrow. We're cloudy but dry right now. There's a leading edge of some rainfall down just slipping into the western nose of western Illinois. And that rainfall will start to trickle in overnight tonight, but the best shot of rainfall comes tomorrow. And we could have some moderately heavy rainfall with some totals exceeding a half inch and maybe approaching an inch of rainfall in some locations. 55 tomorrow, 25 on Monday. The snowfall comes early, and we should be dry by the afternoon. And Tuesday, 28 degrees, 20s for most of the week, with one notable exception. I'll show you that in the 7-day forecast. So here's the rainfall sliding in tonight. Warm front sliding across northern Illinois. Then comes the cold front, the snow in behind. And there's a lot going on here over the next 48 hours. And we'll be back to tell you more about it coming up at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, just to fill you in on any changes that will be coming your way. 43 tonight. 43 up to about 45 degrees here in the city. Those temperatures actually ticking up a couple of degrees. Let's go 55 tomorrow. Cloudy skies, mild temperatures, some showers, but very windy conditions picking up during the afternoon. Again, that wind advisory will be in place. 25 on Monday, 28 on Tuesday. We make it up into the 30s on Wednesday. I've got a chance of snowfall on New Year's Eve. That chance is looking a little higher as we draw a little closer to it. We'll update you on those chances coming up tomorrow morning. Sunshine on Thursday. We're in the 20s right through Friday, back into the mid-30s this time next Saturday.
The more you win games, the bigger the next game is. So obviously we just got a huge win in Green Bay on Saturday night, but this game is even bigger.
Everybody talks about Super Bowl, but you got to be able to get into the games first. Our step number 1 was to get to 11.
It's good that we clinched the playoffs.
Step 2 is we want to win this division.
The better is winning the division.
And then step 3 would be clinching number 1 seed.
Then obviously we got the 1 seed, which would be like slightly better, but the best is to try to go win the Super Bowl.
My goal isn't to just get to the playoffs. My goal is to win and win big.
Time now for sports. In Ben Johnson's first year as head coach, the Bears have certainly exceeded expectations. Statement wins over the Packers and defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. Double-digit wins for the first time in 7 years. A playoff berth for the first time in 5 years. And maybe, just maybe, after this weekend, the NFC North Championship. Here's the Bears Blitz crew with more.
Take it one game at a time, right? I mean, that's what this team has done.
Okay.
You're looking to the Super Bowl?
I mean, anything's possible. They are on a magic carpet ride, right? I mean, it is truly a fairy tale season.
It's so much fun. The joy that's around the city, the joy that's around the country related to the Chicago Bears. And, you know, if anything special happens at the end of the season, that'll be absolutely amazing. But if nothing else, enjoy this moment that we are in.
I have had a number of friends that were at that game and told me about fans becoming emotional in the crowd. And all I could think of was 2016 when the Cubs won that World Series and people became emotional. And it's because Bears fans have been waiting 40 years, since '85, for something like this.
Primetime matchup against the 49ers, also an 11-4 team. They're riding a 5-game winning streak, and the location has been a topic of conversation because it's where the Super Bowl is this year. And Ben Johnson said the location isn't any motivation for them. They are just trying to go 1-0, which has been impressive week after week, that they've been able to channel that same approach and be so focused despite all of the other things going on and being in a position that these players haven't been in before.
We just saw the latest and greatest example of the Bears' ability to come back, to persevere, to thrive in critical moments. When the game is at cold crush depth, we see Caleb and the legend that continues to build there. All those factors are really cool because it does impact the way that we all feel about this team with so many special moments, but there is still areas to improve with the consistency of the way they operate.
Does the resiliency and the way they're able to stay in games and come back in the fourth quarter make them a dangerous team to see in the postseason, Lou?
I think 100% yes. If I'm on the other side, I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I saw what happened against the Packers. They were down and out, and still every break went their way. And I'm a big believer in, yeah, you know what? You go through life and you get lucky, but you create your own breaks. You put yourself in position to earn that luck. And that's what this Bears team has done throughout the year, including what happened in that Packers game.
And the Bears are on the verge of their first NFC North title in 7 years, and they can make even more history. Now, with a win, they would tie their second biggest turnaround from one season to the next. Back in 2018, they improved by 7 wins over the 2017 season. With 2 more wins, they would match their biggest ever turnaround, an 8-win improvement. That was from 2004 to 2005.
The best throw in Bears history. For everything that came with it, it's the Packers. It's the prime time, the bright lights. It's the night you guys basically clinched a playoff spot. I think that throw is going to help define where this team goes. Would you say that's fair?
I would say it's fair. It's going to help define next many years, starting of something good here. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited to be a part of it. And I'm excited to be a part of the change.
And you can catch more of Jeff Joniak's conversation with Caleb Williams on Bears Game Day Live Sunday morning, tomorrow morning at 9:30. Lou Canellis, Anthony Herron, Cassie Carlson, and Tina Wynn will have you covered for 90 minutes leading up to Fox NFL Sunday. And after the game, be sure you head here to Fox Chicago for full post-game reaction and analysis on Bears Game Night Live. NBA now, Bulls have won 5 straight, hosting the Bucks. Giannis making his return after missing 8 games. Fourth quarter here, Bucks up 5. Giannis with the one-handed alley-oop jam. He finished the game with a game-high 29 points. Final seconds of the game, Bucks leading by 7. Off the miss, Giannis gets the rebound, takes off down court, and throws down a windmill dunk. Look at that, uncontested. And after the buzzer sounds, Nikola Vucevic takes exception to that. Both benches clear. Some pushing and shoving with former Bull Bobby Portis in the middle of it. Ultimately, the Bulls lose this one, 112-103. The Blackhawks not looking good. Have lost 6 straight, taking on the Stars. This just went final. The game would go to a shootout. Nick Lardis wins it for the Blackhawks tonight in the 4th round. His first ever NHL shootout attempt. The Blackhawks win this one 4-3. They needed that victory. Hey, the Cubs are reportedly making another addition to their bullpen, agreeing to terms with right-hander Hunter Harvey on a 1-year deal. Now, injuries limited Harvey to just 12 appearances last season in Kansas City. He did not allow a run, though, over 10 2/3 innings. We'll be right back after this break.
The holidays are all about giving, but at the
The holiday season is practically wrapped up, so if you're looking for the next big project, you can get started on preparing for tax season. Connor Hansen tells you what you need to get started.
Even thinking about doing your taxes can be, well, taxing.
Taxes are no longer a one-day event on tax time, April 15th for an hour. It's a year-round event because people have complicated lives and new rules and law changes.
It's those changes to the tax code that make doing your taxes even more complicated for the millions of taxpayers, according to Jackson Hewitt's Chief Tax Officer, Mark Stieber.
The motion is adopted.
And with the passage of the big, beautiful bill earlier this year, folks filing their taxes need to be aware of some of the changes, including new deductions for tips and overtime, a higher child tax credit, and additional deductions for seniors. Stieber says understanding the new provisions may help families avoid mistakes and be more prepared for filing season.
If you're 65 or older on December 31st, you qualify for up to $6,000 per person in deductions, and that's not the old standard deduction increase for seniors. This is a new additional deduction. There's also a new deduction for people who have tips, up to $25,000 in deduction if you have qualified tips. If you have overtime as a part of your compensation, new $12,500. If you bought a car and it was assembled in the United States and you borrowed money, up to $10,000 in deductible loan interest. So you want to make sure you do it right and don't take something that's not yours, but you also don't want to leave it off because the IRS is just not going to send you more money. You leave it off, stays off.
So how do you get started?
First of all, you want to be organized. You want to have last year's information. You want to have documents and information related to this year, not just your income statements and your W-2s and 1099s, but anything that can impact your tax return. Things like life changes, new job, new side hustle, adopted or had a child, moved, got married, got divorced. Good records mean more deductions, which means lower taxes.
To avoid tax time errors, Stieber recommends familiarizing yourself with the new tax rules, knowing which deductions you qualify for, and if you are unsure about which credits to claim, turn to a trusted tax professional. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
All right, I'll repeat the words we started the show with: weather whiplash.
Oh, my goodness. And you're going to know about it tomorrow with winds that could gust up to 55 miles per hour. The temperature tomorrow up to 55 degrees. That's before we come tumbling down to 25 with some snow showers.
And fast, right?
Overnight. Yep.
Right. Thank you, Mark. And thank you for watching Fox 32 News Saturday. Good day starts at 7 a.m. tomorrow. And remember, now you can stream Fox 32 Chicago on your smart TV with Fox Local. Search for the Fox Local at the streaming platforms you see on your screen. Download and watch today, and have a great rest of your Saturday night.
This place is ready to pop. You can feel the energy from Bears fans surging through this joint.
Hell yeah! This is a special group. You are mentally tough, you're physically tough, and you fight all 60 minutes.
Now it just comes down to one play. An entire division on the line.
Get better back!
Blitzes out. Got it, Robin. Right corner of the end zone. Up in the air. J.J. Walker. Touchdown. Are you kidding me? The fourth quarter magic is somehow continuing.
Never let it run.
He always makes plays when needed. He's clutch like that. I can make anything.
Williams looking downfield, launching downfield, going for it all! Bears win it! Are you serious? You're gonna get better!
The Iceman coming! The Iceman take it! Caleb does it again!
Iceman! Iceman! One of the most improbable wins in regular season history. You better get better! You better get better!
Team of destiny. That's the cool part about destiny. You got to get to the end of the one.
Bears on 3, 1, 2, 3.
And at the end of the day, is that the Packers always.
Hey, if you don't know, no. Hey, no, it's Chicago.
Let's go, baby.
My dad said after hearing that DJ Moore quote after the game, you know, the line, he said, I want a T-shirt that says that. And I couldn't find him one for Christmas. Someone needs to make him one. Hope everyone had a happy holidays and Merry Christmas. We also broke out into a good, better, best chant at the dinner table. I feel like we can't be the only ones. It is a buzzing in Chicago right now. Welcome into Bears Blitz, brought to you by IGS Energy. Lou Canellis, Anthony Herron, and I'm Cassie Carlson. And the best Christmas gift was the Bears clinching their spot in the playoffs. And now with 2 more games left, the Lions are out. The Bears and Packers left to take the division, which the Bears can do this weekend with a win in Santa Clara or a Packers loss to the Ravens on Saturday.
Take it one game at a time, right? I mean, that's what this team has done.
Okay.
You're looking to the Super Bowl?
I mean, anything's possible.
They are on a magic carpet ride, right? I mean, it is truly a fairy tale season. We're watching the Open, and he and I are just laughing because, seriously, as someone who has followed this team, at least here at Fox, I have been doing Bears Game Day Live and Bears Game Night Live for 20 years. It's become laughable. Right. I have never, 2001, 2018, 2010, 2006, I've never seen anything like this.
It's unbelievable. It's remarkable. It's incredible. Any adjective that we could associate with this team from a positivity perspective, it really associates with how they are operating. It's so much fun. The joy that's around the city, the joy that's around the country related to the Chicago Bears. And, you know, if anything special happens at the end of the season, that'll be absolutely amazing. But if nothing else, enjoy this moment that we are in right now, because when we get to 2027 and beyond, the expectations will be different. The joy that we can take from it, there'll be some enhanced tension at that point. So make sure, as we do focus on the moment, if it is one game at a time, make sure we appreciate where we're at with this squad right now.
I'll tell you what, because we had the postgame show here on Fox 32 Chicago, so I was in studio, but I have had a number of friends that were at that game and told me about fans becoming emotional in the crowd, and all I could think of was 2016 when the Cubs won that World Series and people became emotional. And it's because Bears fans have been waiting 40 years, since '85, for something like this. And it's really tugging right now at the heartstrings.
I got so many texts from fans that said, why do I feel like I want to cry right now? And the adrenaline coming down from that game, it took almost days to get over. I woke up the next morning, I'm like, did that actually happen? And I had to rewatch the ending. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. I missed this. Because it wasn't just one play.